So I must say ignorance is bliss, because when I walked into that program at Calistoga, I, on Friday, moved out of my classroom for the school year, had the weekend to set up a classroom and started Monday morning. And I didn't have a lot of training with Footsteps to Brilliance. They said, here, go. I didn't have a lot of curriculum. I just was absolutely ignorant about where I was going and what would happen. But I knew I was having children who had never been to school, who did not speak English, and I didn't speak Spanish. So I was on this great life adventure, but I believed in the power of technology for little kids. I believe that the most important grade level is kindergarten. And I believe, like Barbara said, that if kids do not love school when they start, that they can't love school later either. So for me, there were two things that I heard today. Barbara, you said kids need to love school and they need to come in and play. What Footsteps to Brilliance brought to that classroom was laughter. And when the kids, I did just like this. I put my books up there really big, and they would come and tap, and when things started dancing on the screen, we would all dance. And when they started laughing, the fear fell away, because they were ready to find out that school was going to be something great. And they would say, just like Barb said, do it again, read it again, can we keep going? And that was in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. So those were wonderfully magical moments. Chuck, you said today, amplify. And I would say that technology does not replace a teacher. It's what teachers are going to be able to do with that. And so just setting an iPad and Footsteps in front of a child is not going to bring the magic moment. What's going to happen is when you're supporting your teachers and believing in them, and when the teachers get in there and realize the depth of the program. And Catherine, you didn't have a chance to share the data management part, but when you as a teacher on a weekend can sit on your sofa and in 5 minutes realize where your children have been by reviewing that data, and then the magical piece of the flashcard maker where you can go back and say, wait a minute, I really need my kids to learn these letters or learn these numbers. And you can pull that up, comfortable and cozy at home. Or when I was on vacation, I took my stuff with me, and I could create flashcards that would come back, and we'd use those with all the children to do retelling, to do the vocabulary practice, to share those and send those home. And the children began to own it. Now, what I use this every day in my classroom, and as they were presenting earlier, I was thinking, if you're familiar with iRead, which is our new district, one of the new district reading programs, and they keep saying to me, well, how come all your kids are on grade level? I only have 3 that are not, and they're TKs, they're really young little babies. And I'm thinking maybe it's the increase in vocabulary, because this is how I start my day every day. And the kids aren't looking at me going, I don't want to do that, teacher. They're saying, just 1 more minute. Can I read 1 more book? Can I go a little farther? The other thing I see is that they're head-to-head, because I don't have 1-to-1 iPads. I have 2-to-1. And so I often see one kid looking over at the other because they want to see what's going on. And I hear their little cheers. I got 100 points. I got 75 points, which go nowhere except for their heart. You know, and it's their heart that says, I was successful today using this. It's a really powerful thing. So what will that bring? It'll bring play back to your classroom. It will amplify you as a teacher, so that when I don't have time to read to my students over and over, they're going back to their favorite stories again and again. So I was sharing with Chuck a few minutes ago. I absolutely adore the new piece that's in here that's all nonfiction. Beautifully aligned to Common Core. And so last week I said to my students, we were talking about community helpers. I said, find a book in there. You do the work, and you find the book that shows somebody helping somebody else. And I walked around the room, and I thought, I wonder if there is a book in there that they're going to find. And what was magical to me is that they were able to justify their choices. So one of the kids is reading a book about a monkey, and I'm thinking, what about that monkey shows that you're helping others? But he was able to explain to me how the monkey was helping the audience in the zoo. And there was the story of Daniel the dog, about the guide dog, which they read over and over and over again, so much so that the parents came back to me and said, what in the world are you doing in there? What's the story? Did you bring a guide dog to school? So giving them voice and choice, when they open that library, and often I will assign a book and say, you have to read this first, and next you can make your own choices. But giving them choice and allowing them a little bit of control over who they are and what they're doing in the classroom has also been a very powerful venue. Things that I love that it plays with them. I love that it's not just technology oriented, because the pieces that are in there, and later you'll probably talk about Recipe Box. Recipe Box is a place in that app where teachers can contribute ideas. So if I've read Full Moon Parade and I think, you know what, this is what I did with this. This is an art project that I developed. This is a phonics game that I developed. This is a math skill that I developed based on that book. I can put all that in there in what's called a recipe. And I can share that with the teachers at my site, but I can share it with teachers across the nation. So suddenly what I'm doing helps at somebody else. My influence is not limited to my classroom. It's suddenly gotten bigger. Parents love it. When my kids are going on vacation during the middle of the school year and parents say, give me a homework packet, I can say, you need to log in every day. You need to do comprehension. The kids love it because it's not hard. And I can say, start with this star, move to the second star, and they understand their way to work through there. The content is powerful. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And I feel like you're not going to understand it till you get in there and you get to open it up and you get to play with it. Support your teachers and believe in them, because it's scary in the beginning. And the first time that you launch out there and you realize that the kids are smarter than you, or that they have found a piece that you don't know how to use, like in Create a Book, and they say, I don't know how to make my words come back, or I can't find that page. That's okay, because I think the most beautiful part of technology is that it's kind of leveled our classrooms so that we're all learning new things together, and that is great. That's how it should be. And I would love to answer questions too. So I don't know if there's anything specific. It can be aligned to the curriculum that's currently in our classrooms.